What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Stay Waiting podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, the legend himself, Sugar Ray. How are you, man?
Doing all good, man. I'm excited about the welterweight division. The future of boxing has been looking good this year, so
Do you know what? This is why I love you. You tee everything up because you let everybody know what the episode is about. We teased it before in our Charlo recap against Brian Castagna, which you can actually see if you click over there. It's up there somewhere, but you know what I mean? You can click that link, have a watch of that, because we did tease what is meant to be happening in today's episode, and that is we are going to be recapping Jaron Boots Ennis' victory over Custio Clayton in the welterweight division and what that means going forward. So the fight itself, just quickly with it was a quick one, 2 rounds. Don't get to see much of Ennis. What did you quickly make of it in that sense?
He showed some of his skills. He showed he was vicious with it. Like he said, he doesn't get paid for overtime. His slogan, he says it in and out like a robbery. And man, he went in there, put on a show for the short time, and then he hit him with a chopping right hook. It was unfortunate. The placement of it was, back of the head, but it happened so fast that the ref didn't see it. And it was a case of, Clay had moved his head in a certain way to duck a punch, and then the chopping right hand was coming, bam. It clipped him like just back of the head / just around the temple area. And, thankfully it was stopped because it would have been inhumane to see it carry on because Boots was going to put a boot in on him. But listen, man, the guy's the truth, but where he goes next is a mystery. Well, not a mystery, but it's a hard one to detail for now.
I was going to say, so with the actual fight itself, I know we talked about how less there was, but saying that it is his 19th stoppage in his last 20 fights. So, and with that, like we mentioned in terms of what we're going to, he now becomes the mandatory for Errol Spence's IBF title. The only problem is we kind of have a super fight on the way.
Undisputed.
So with that, being Gerald Ennis himself, does he then take the step away from there and I guess in some ways try to grow his profile and with that fight somebody who's potentially that's growing his own profile here in the UK and looking for a fight in Conor Benn?
Let me tell you something. If I'm Conor Benn, not if I'm Conor Benn, because you're supposed to think you're the best in the world and I respect that. And that is a fighter's fighter. If you are a promoter, if you're his team, stay away from Jaron Boots Ennis. There are classes to this. And I feel the funny thing is, I don't even think that Boots is ready for Spence. I feel like Boots is an A-grade fighter. Spence and Crawford are A+. And I feel like for Boots right now, the best person to fight would be Keith Thurman as a good scout to have and a good litmus test. But I know that Keith Thurman is at a point of his career now where he wants bigger fights for a payday. So for that fight to happen, they need to entice him with a lot of money because I know Thurman, likes it or not, he acts like he doesn't know Boots' name. Thurman, you know who Boots is, and we know that you're walking away from that fight because you don't want to be the veteran with a name to be fed to a young, hungry lion. I get that. But at this point, Boots has made enough noise that should be the fight. Boots Ennis against Thurman. As for Conor Benn, build your profile in the UK. I know that Eddie Hearn is talking about him facing Jose Ramirez in July, which is surprised to me. I didn't even know Jose Ramirez is going to move up to welterweight, but that is a good fight. But I like Benn as a person. I like Benn as a fighter. Stay away from Boots Ennis. Simple. The only person that should be saying Boots Ennis' name is Thurman, who ironically isn't. And we saw after the fight where Boots Ennis was having words with Errol Spence. And listen, man, that's big fish for a reason. Don't mess with that man. That's man down for promotions for a reason.
I was going to say, like we talked about hindrances in the past. Is this, I guess, some form of a hindrance as well, knowing that he's the mandatory and we do want the Spence Crawford fight, but this could be put in the middle? Or do you think there will be a case where, yeah, you're the mandatory, but understanding his position in the role of boxing right now, he will put himself aside, build that profile. But also on that, to fight Conor Benn in the UK, would that not help grow his profile in the UK as well?
At this point, I think he needs to grow his profile in his home nation. That's why I'm saying the Thurman fight is a good one, because that is the guy where it's like people can be like, oh, I know Thurman, and then grow it there. The same way Conor Benn is growing his profile in the UK, because if that wasn't the case, Ben would have been fought in the US and tried to grow it there. So I think both guys need to grow their profile in their respective nations so that when they are ready for the belt, they're the real deal. And I feel like with what Thurman's done in the sport and where Boots Ennis is, that is the perfect fight. So they need to find a way to entice Thurman. And I think even if, listen, with Boots being the mandatory for the IBF, Boots needs to hang that in Thurman's face and say, listen, if you want the mandatory, you know, come get this fight, and then you can fight Errol Spence after. So I just feel like Conor Benn should stay away. I feel like Conor Benn will lose to Ennis right now. He hasn't shown, he's a great fighter, but he hasn't shown me anything that will outclass Boots Ennis. And Boots Ennis has shown he's a spiteful fighter. And I just feel like keep Ben away from Ennis, and Ennis chase that Thurman fight, because I think Ennis also knows that, listen, be smart. Let Errol Spence and Crawford have the undisputed fight, because as long as you're mandatory, you can fight the next person for all the belts. And I feel like that's the roads that Dumlot should face. Go down.
I have two things for you on this. And one is chasing the Thurman fight is one thing. But what about Ugas? And I say this because Ugas will be in a position where he wants to obviously go back to where he possibly is, knowing that obviously the roads are kind of blocked for him. But taking Ennis fight itself, if Ennis can scalp Ugas, knowing where Ugas has come from, that surely elevates him a little bit more. And also, let's say the fight with Ramirez and Benn, when that happens, and that happens in London, if you do see a Boots sitting ringside, the hype's going to be there. You just know that will be there, surely, if you can get the matchmaking and if you can get the call outs in.
I think commercially it should happen, but commercially I don't know if Boots is the guy yet to be sitting ringside, and then people be like, oh, Boots Ennis in the crowd, and people are like, oh my gosh, what, Boots Ennis, and he's calling out Ben. I don't know if Boots is at that point yet. So that's what I'm saying. The Thurman fight suits him better, because that is a scalp that is like, that's someone that if you beat him, that's a good thing. Because the Ugas one, he's going to be out for a while anyway. And Ugas, to be fair, if you're building Boots Ennis, his team shouldn't take that fight, because a healthy Ugas, that is a terrible style match. He's another one. I'd say he's an A+ welterweight. Like I said, Jaron Boots Ennis, for me right now, he's an A class, not A+. And I feel like that Thurman fight will be able to see if he's okay. Let's find out if you're really A+. That's what you need. You need a former champion there. And I feel like Ugas right now will be a bit too much, but I feel like Thurman is just the right guy. And also Ugas is going to need to build himself up after such a tough loss, and you know, the eye injury. We wish him a speedy recovery, but that's just not the fight for him right now. I think it should be Boots and Thurman, and then Ben and whatever other welterweights there are for him to build up his reputation until he's ready to go across the pond to get that fight. But if we was to do a theoretical thing of Ben against Boots, Boots is going to put the boot to everyone else's asses. That's not Ugas, Crawford, or Spence.
And I want to do quick fantasy booking then.
Yeah.
You talked about that. Let's just stay on 147. Are we going to get, just quick yes or no, because hopefully are we going to get this fight that we want at 147 this year, or do you think it's going to happen next year?
It's going to happen.
No,
it will happen. I think now it's probably just a battle of percentages. This fight is going to happen. Both of them have said they want it. Crawford is a free agent. PBC put on great shows on Showtime. This is the perfect time for them to, is now or never. So it has to happen. There's no way it can't happen. So I just think they're probably in negotiations right now. And once Showtime go through this schedule that ends in, I believe, July, because I know obviously they got Gervonta Davis coming up. They've got Stephen Fulton, Coolboy Steph coming up. They got Big Charlo coming up. And I think once they go through that schedule and they have to do the last year's schedule, I think that's when they're going to announce it. So now it's just negotiations, because if it doesn't happen this year or early next year, forget it.
I've got one little stumbling block for you, and that actually kind of goes towards Crawford. And we talked about tune-up fights. If Crawford comes to PBC...
No tune-ups. No tune-up.
If he wants a tune-up fight, surely for him...
No.
For PBC to see the pay-per-view numbers, they would try to throw in a Keith Thurman tune-up fight there.
Do you know what it is? I think Errol Spence has put pressure on Crawford. But I also think Crawford also wants this for himself. When Errol Spence came back and he said, listen, champions don't do tune-ups, he sent a lot of people in their feelings, but Errol Spence sent a message to say, listen, if you're the real deal, forget a tune-up, we're here. And I've even seen Terence Crawford have the same sentiment, like, yeah, forget a tune-up, I'm here. The only people that may want to tune up is PBC themselves, just for commercial reasons to grow Crawford's presence. But by the sounds of it, Crawford is saying he wants to jump right in it because he's just as much of a competitor as Errol Spence. So, yeah, there's not going to be no tune-ups. It's going to be straight in.
I was going to say,
strap season.
That is literally how I was going to leave this episode. I was going to wrap up and say, there's only one way to wrap up, and that is strap season.
Strap season.
With that, we are going to wrap up today's episode of the Stay Waiting podcast. As always, if you are enjoying the pod, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms. It's now at Stay Weighed In. Just a little quick rebrand as always. And like I said before, if you like this video, go back, check the other video on our on Charlo and Castagna. Let us know what you think about PBC in general. Like, how are they as a promotion? Do you think they've got arguably the best summer-spring lineup out of everybody? And yeah,
they do.
With us, let us know about everything, and also let us know where you want Jaron Boots Ennis to go going forward. But Ray, as always, I want to leave you with the final words.
Strap season. #Stay weighed in.
With that, we are going to wrap up another episode of the Stay Weighed In podcast. As always, guys, Ray, thank you for coming on. And as always, guys,
love as always, people.